Welcome back to another video. It's your boy TNL. And look, if you're under 21, you probably feel like you're late to the party already. And if you're over 21, you probably wish you could go back and tell your younger self a few things. And that's what this video is. I just want to let you know this video isn't about regret, but it's simply just about awareness and things. There's 10 things that I wish someone sat me down with and told me before I spent years and years learning them the hard way. If any of these can resonate with you or can help you going further in life, good. That means you're early. Or, it doesn't even matter if you're older. You're fine, regardless of the fact. We'll start with number one, though. Nobody actually genuinely knows what they're doing. And let me tell you something that a lot of people won't really tell you, because they'll kind of just go on about things, go on about their life. Most adults are just older teenagers with bills and with, problems, real world problems. People look confident because they've learned how to hide the confusion and they're kind of regulated their schedule, not because they've figured out life, but, it just kind of includes your parents, your professors, your boss. Just stop waiting to feel ready when it comes to things. Ready doesn't come first, but action does. So if you wait until you feel prepared, you'll most likely feel like you're stuck forever. Number two, time is really way more valuable than money. And let me tell you why you're wasting it. At 18 to 21, people think money is really the main problem in their life, but it's really not. Time is. You can really make more money later in your life, right? But you can't buy the time back, spent drifting, scrolling or numbing yourself, whether it's with alcohol or with, gas or weed. I said gas. If you're watching this right now, your biggest asset isn't cash, but it's strictly just attention. Where you aim it is where your future is really decided. If that makes sense. Number three, being busy is not the same as moving forward in your life. And I thought that being busy meant that I was really being productive with things. I was keeping myself afloat, doing school, working multiple jobs, working on side hustles, but I feel like I was a little wrong, in my sense. And I still do some of these things as side hustles and whatever, but you can be exhausted and still be going nowhere. You have to really sit down and ask yourself this instead. Is this building a skill for myself? Is this improving my future? Is this just keeping me distracted with things, right? If your days feel like they're full, but your life is not really changing at all and you're not evoluting over time, you're kind of just running in place. Number four, your environment will shape you more than motivation ever will. You don't rise to your goals, right? You just fall to your environment. Who are you around? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What kind of things are in your presence that could maybe make you drift? If everyone around you is comfortable with being average, you'll most likely slowly become okay with it too. No matter how motivated you are, no matter how many Andrew Tate videos you see on your feed, no matter how many, Morgan Freeman quotes you see, this doesn't mean cutting off everyone overnight, though. I want to make that clear. But it just means to be more intentional about who you listen to, what you consume, and what you tend to normalize over time. Change your inputs, and over time, your outputs will just change automatically. Number five, most people will stay broke, but it's because they copy broke behavior. And this one hurts, but hear me out. It's not just income that will keep people broke, but it's their habits over time, right? Spending to feel better after maybe having a bad day, avoiding money conversations with people that may have a little bit more knowledge than you that could really teach you something. Thinking investing too late or investing is too late or too risky, right? We just copy what's normal around us, right? So if everyone treats money like it's something that's stressful or it's boring or it's just another thing out there, right? You'll do the same unless you consciously choose different behavior, right? Wealth will start with unlearning, what I'm saying, and not earning, if that makes sense. Unlearning these bad behaviors that are, taught to you over time, that will cause you to spend more that you could really be saving. Number 6, comfort is way more dangerous than failure. So failure is very loud, right? But it's temporary. It's not a thing that lasts forever. Comfort is very quiet, but it can be very permanent at the same time too. Comfort convinces you to stay in situations that you've really outgrown, if that makes sense. Jobs you hate, relationships that drain you, versions of yourself that feel small, that you've really outgrown. So if you're uncomfortable right now, it's not really a problem that you can't fix, but it's just a signal that you might need to change some things around to kind of get you into a better position. Number 7, you don't need passion, but you strictly just need direction. Everyone, I'll tell you what I mean by that. Everyone tells you to find your passion, right? Find what you love to do. And that advice can really mess people up from time to time because passion usually comes after competence, not before. So really strictly just pick a direction, and stick with it. Learn something, learn a skill. So, start with something small that you can scale and really evolve over time. Get better at one thing. Because if you also have your eggs in way too many baskets, then you'll struggle with keeping up and, watering your garden because you have so many gardens to water. It's going to get tough over time. Momentum will also create clarity. So waiting for passion creates paralysis sometimes, and you feel like, I don't know if I should really get into that. I'm interested in it a little bit, but I don't know. You kind of wait a little bit, and then a little bit turns into a month, it turns into a year, 5 years. And then you're just kind of there, just like, I wish I had gone for that. I wish I had put one foot in front of the other and went for that. Number 8, saving money isn't about discipline, but it's about identity. I used to think that saving money meant being strict, being bare to the bone, not, doing too much, right? But it doesn't. It just means deciding I'm someone who values future freedom more than, short-term comfort. Excuse me. Once that identity clicks, your spending changes naturally over time. And you stop asking yourself, can I afford this? And you start asking, is this worth delaying my future for? And when I say that, I mean, you know, money is time. Time is money. So your future self, is it worth, delaying some of that freedom that you're gonna, have in your future for this thing that you're about to purchase? And that question kind of changes everything when you come to purchase things from time to time. Is this gonna help me? Is this worth it? Things like that. Number 9, most regret comes from what you didn't try. And I kind of touched on this a little earlier. People don't regret failing. They regret not starting. They regret not speaking up. They regret not taking the risk when it comes to things. The pain of embarrassment will fade over time. And this is something that happens all the time. Have you ever lost a game? Have you ever lost a game of Fortnite, let's say? Have you ever lost a game of basketball, football, whatever? That embarrassment will fade. You're not going to be worried about that, because what if you win next time? The pain of embarrassment will fade, but the pain of what if doesn't. You're allowed to try things before you're good at them, right? And that's how everyone you admired started. You know, do you think Messi was instantly just the GOAT with a soccer ball? Nah, he had to really be dribbling. He had to really be dribbling around them cones, and he had to hit all those practice shots. Steph Curry, he's definitely in the gym shooting free throws. Bam, finding his spot, shooting threes all day, even when nobody's around watching. Like you have to really put time into things to become great at them, and you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And if you get lucky and you win, that just shows you need to keep going. It's not luck, though, if you put in a lot of time and effort. Then it just becomes second nature to you. Number 10, you are way earlier than you think. Before I really get into this, I had a conversation with my dad not too long ago, and we don't necessarily talk all that much, right? But we began to speak a little bit about investing and a lot of stuff like that. And he's about, I think, in his 40s. So he was really just ushering me and explaining to me that it is so very important that you started investing, earlier, because that compound interest and all these great things are going to work out so much more in my favor later down the line. And he was just, kind of talking to me about how he really wishes he did start earlier, because he has to work so hard and he has to work almost like every day now still, at his age. And he just wishes that he had that knowledge. Somebody gave him that knowledge beforehand. And it's things like that, that just, you're way earlier than you think. If you're kind of in my age range, I'm 21. If you're in this range of your 20s, you're 18, even if you're before, you're so early and you're in such a better spot than, our older generations were. This is the one I wish I believed, at 18, at 20, at 22, it feels like everyone else is ahead, but they're not. Most people don't wake up until their 30s, until their 40s. And if you're thinking about growth, money, habits, and direction now, you're already so much further ahead. The goal isn't to have it all figured out, but the goal is really to just start becoming someone who figures things out. I'll leave you off with this, though. If nobody's told you this yet, let me be the one. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not late. But you're very early when it comes to things. And awareness is always the hardest part. So if this video helped you even a little bit, stay here. This channel is about growth that will actually stick with you and not some kind of fake motivation. And if you're under 21 watching this, remember this moment, because you will genuinely thank yourself later. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate y'all.